Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us on today's first episode of Recruit Military Live for 2025, where we will be diving into the transformative power of mentorship during National Mentoring Month and discussing why connecting with mentors is a game changer for the military community and its professionals. My name is Gabby Petticrew, and I am joined by my amazing co-host, Raul Torres. How's it going your way, Raul?
Hey, Gabby, going great. Fantastic first week of 2025. So glad to keep it rolling.
Can't believe we're already 8 days into. First week is done, second week starting off. Like, what universe are we living in?
Yeah, the only downside is maybe that super winter storm coming down.
I'm in Arizona. It's 70 degrees over here. To anyone that hates hearing that, I'm in the Phoenix area and it's beautiful out here right now. So thoughts and prayers to everyone experiencing all the crazy snowstorms going on right now.
Absolutely. But rolling into our very first guest of 2025, she is the Vice President of Military Engagement for American Corporate Partners, ACP, and has been assisting transitioning service members and spouses in developing post-military careers for 15 years. As a mom of 4, grandma of 1, and military spouse of 27 years, she understands the unique challenges of being a mil spouse and is passionate about empowering others to find and grow great careers. She holds a master's in business administration from Texas A&M University Commerce, right down the road from me, and has been awarded for her volunteerism with the Meritorious Public Service Medal, Commander's Award for Public Service, Civilian Volunteer of the Year, and many more. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming back Leslie Coffey. Leslie, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Raul. Thank you. And Gabby, I can't believe that I'm kicking off the year with you all. 2 of my faves. So thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no better way for us to start. Thank you for joining us today, Leslie. And for anyone, we mentioned a little bit earlier, but for anyone that may not know, it is National Mentoring Month. So we figured who better to bring on the show than our amazing Miss Leslie Coffey from ACP. Leslie, if you want to tell us a little bit about your role within ACP, and then also what ACP is for those who may not have heard of it or know what it is.
Yeah, so for those of you not familiar with ACP, we're the one organization out there that focuses on underemployment. So many in this space are really helping you to land the job, but we want you to get a career you can grow within, that's the right fit, that you're going to be there for many years. And the way we go about doing that is providing customized mentorship. So we provide one mentor to one veteran or one mentor to one military spouse for a year. It's a year-long journey together to learn and grow. I am very fortunate that I am an alum of ACP. I actually came through in 2018 when we first launched for spouses. And actually my spouse is as well. So we're kind of like the hair club for men, we're not just members, but not just the VP, but also alums.
Fantastic. And can you go into a little bit about, I guess, the qualifiers for those, whether they're still active duty in the reserves and the guards, veterans, spouses, can you kind of dive into more on what it is, what qualifies you for even the program, the mentorship program within ACP?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So first of all, you can join, we can help regardless of where you are in your journey. Doesn't matter the rank, it doesn't matter your education or your background. We have everyone because it's completely customized based off of their journey. So if you have at least 180 days of post 9/11 service, we're happy to help. That includes all branches. It includes Coast Guard. It includes Reserve, National Guard. For our spouses, it's going to be active duty spouses, surviving spouses, Gold Star, or disabled post 9/11 veteran spouses. So again, I actually came through when I was an active duty spouse. We were stationed in the middle of the Mojave Desert. Chick-fil-A was 96 miles away, and that's kind of what I consider civilization. So there wasn't a lot of opportunities. I mean, it was just bleak. the economic landscape. As a matter of fact, there was a spouse that worked at the front desk of the hotel. She had a PhD. So that's what we were dealing with. She was like the check-in clerk, and she had a PhD. The result of my mentorship was a 67% increase in pay, which is why I joined the team.
Phenomenal. Yeah. And if you could give us a little bit of your background and your story. I know you've shared with us that you were both, a protege and now a mentor yourself, going on your second mentorship. So that's amazing. Thank you so much. But if, you can tell us a little bit about your story, about how you got started with ACP and, where you are now with them.
Yes. So for my first 25 years of being a military spouse, the Army always made my decision to resign. I was never afforded the opportunity to maintain that employment. So it's, move and start over and start climbing the ladder. And then Uncle Sam would call and we'd have to do it all over again. And also, I had 4 kids. And so we always, as spouses typically, we put the mission and our service member, supporting our service member and supporting the kids first. And our goals tend to take a back seat. So, actually, I had known about ACP because I was in the space for many years before they announced that they would open for spouses.
Oh, okay.
So when they did announce, I actually put a countdown app on my phone, so I'd be one of the first to apply. I used to share it with everyone.
Wasting no time.
That's right. That's right. Well, for me, I was said, like, who would pass this up? It's like the rich uncle you never knew you had that we could learn from. And, and that's how I came to be. So within a few years after I completed my mentorship, they reached out and, I've actually almost been here for 4 years now. So time flies.
Incredible. Yeah. And that's something, I wasn't the first mentee, but I myself also went through the program. I didn't do the entire 12 months. So I think at some point I got hired, which was great. And just from my personal experience, my mentor, Lauren, was awesome. Opened the doors on my side, open my brain to what possibilities are out there. As far as mentoring up until then, or as far as networking up until then, just outside of maybe talking to other people that were getting out themselves, I did not know where to start. And she just started the process for me to discover what's out there, and opening her network up to me was just game changing. I don't even know where to start thanking her. So if you're out there, Lauren, listening, thank you. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit, Leslie, about mentorship accelerating your career growth, right? I know for me, the networking the networking piece was just one part of it. But once you're in it, how does ACP help push along someone that's already in the game? That's already
right. Well, it's a great question. And I will say we're very fortunate. First of all, we have 35,000 alumni. So 35,000 have come through our program. Our average starting salary is $90,000. And 47% do not have a degree. So, 47% of those in our program wouldn't even be afforded an opportunity to interview with many companies without that piece of paper. And so that mentor, what they're doing, they're providing the roadmap. They are a season or two ahead. They're very aspirational, and they're there to help you to craft your elevator pitch, to help you to make sure your LinkedIn profile is optimized, to make sure your resume speaks to that specific industry, because every industry and their language and whatnot is different, and 93% of the country hasn't served. So it's important that they're going to get through that system with the right words, with the right language, and stand out to a hiring manager. And Raul, I love what you talked about with your mentor opening your eyes, because my service member, before he wrapped up 30 years, he worked at White Castle. So he had no ideas.
Yum.
He had no idea where his skills would fit.
Yeah.
And so it's talking through that and those epiphanies. And that's what I love most about my first protege. You know, it was that career exploration piece and finding that right fit.
I would say that's probably one of the biggest areas where they're allowing for that career growth, like how that mentorship helps. Because especially if you joined right out of high school, you know, like I did, 17 years old on those yellow footprints, graduating and doing the same thing for 10 years while I loved my job. And it's still what I do to this day. For some folks, that's not that's not their story, but they say they did admin for 4 or 5, 10 years. And they're thinking, oh, well, that's what I have to do in the civilian sector. And they're keyholing themselves and they're forcing themselves to find those positions. Whereas a mentor can be like, okay, we're laying out all of your characteristics, everything you bring to the table, all of your qualifications. These are actually some careers that are parallel to that, some career fields that you could actually shine in and do well. What do you think about A, B, and C? And giving them those opportunities, opening, like you said, their mind to other opportunities that they wouldn't even, because if they keyhole themselves, have kind of this tunnel vision of what their career should be and should look like. So that for me, I feel like would be a game changer for anyone going through the mentorship program.
Right. And, for example, we've got a great mentor who's with Unilever, and he was a logistician in the military. And his job is director of ice cream planning. So he actually gets to taste all the Ben and Jerry's, before they
once again, yum. These jobs.
But imagine, like, who would know that's even a job if you're coming out of the military and you have this logistics background? You don't know that that's somewhere that your skills would fit. But
absolutely.
Yeah. I was going to say, on the other side of the coin, mine, me and Lauren kind of talked about like what I wanted to do, because I thought I had an idea. So on the other side of the coin, not that I talked myself out of like doing sports marketing, but I kind of figured where I was in my career, I didn't know if I wanted to start at the very bottom where, like in sports, that's very common, where the salary doesn't match up immediately. So it does help if, you have a mentor that's versed in, the field you're in, because obviously that's how you get matched, and just spitballing ideas of what you want to do. I figured, hey, maybe this is not the time for me for sports marketing. So it's good on that side as to like maybe what route you shouldn't take. So,
and that's exactly why we focus on underemployment. We want to make sure that you're valued at not only the right career path, but at the right level based on your years of experience and all the sacrifices you made for our country. I mean, the government pours millions of dollars into training you. You should not have to come out and start at the bottom level, just like you're mentioning, Raul.
Absolutely.
And why is it, Leslie, do you think that it's so important for specifically military professionals, those military spouses, those veterans, active duty looking to transition? Why is it important for them to have that mentorship? Because, we look at the military, for those that are outside looking in, you would assume like, oh, they have everything figured out. They have, their entire life laid out, ahead of them. Once they get out, they should be set. Why is it that you think military professionals, this emphasis is on them to ensure that they have some strong like guidance and leadership within this mentorship program?
Yeah, well, great question. There's a few things to consider. First of all, mentoring is quite common within the military. And the military does a great job of lining out, when to expect, what you need to do to get promoted, what you need to do to move to the next rank. All that's very clear. And they train you on that, right? But when you're leaving, it's not so clear. It's, newsflash, you've never negotiated salary before, right? So how do you even know what to ask for unless you're learning from somebody in that path? But then also, the career clarity, how your skills fit. I'll give you another example. We had a veteran that was retiring, and he had a career in satellites. He was Air Force, came out as an E7. He was wanting to move somewhere very remote, if you will, not next to a large city. And it was in, Raul, you're talking about the snow. It was in one of those northern states like Wisconsin. And so he said, you know what's important to me when we were finding the right mentor, what's important to me is that I find a position that is remote, because I don't want to have a long commute from being rural. And, I want to figure out where my skills match. Well, we actually paired him with somebody in the financial services industry, and he's like, I don't know. I don't want to be in sales, right? And we said, look, just have a call, and then we can see if it's right for you. After one call, the mentor quickly discovered skill sets within his background that would be a phenomenal fit for the financial services industry, which is learning about risk assessment. And so we actually encouraged him, similar to the story with the veteran taking that class, is that this veteran, he said, take this cert that's going to get you qualified. And not only did he get that position, but he also secured 6 figures remotely from going into a field that he would have never considered, because he thought that field was sales. It was really about risk. He took that background in security and risk with dealing with satellites and transitioned it into financial services.
And that's just something that goes into what I always say, what I was told when I learned here: you don't know what you don't know. And that's why having a mentor can be just amazing for your growth. And Jennifer Williams here has popped on and said, my mentor was amazing. She was the game changer for my military transition. Thank you for sharing, Jennifer. And that's exactly what it is. That's the importance. And for anyone out there who does have any questions regarding either the ACP program, mentorship in general, please feel free to drop those questions right here in the chat. We can answer them live if we have time. But that's exactly it. And I know I'm envious, because of course we may not even realize it, but we're getting mentored throughout our entire military career, right? From that NCO, that next chain of command member. But to have that guidance, either like when you're transitioning or either afterwards, like you mentioned, military members for our entire career, we're being told what to wear, when to eat, like what to do for your job from 7:30 to 5 p.m. and when to go get your dental visits and when to go to health. Literally, they tell you like, hey, you're overdue for your health checkup. You're on the hit list. Go get her done. And then you're, out on your own after however many years of service. And you're like, okay, what do I need to do? For those that don't have, a solid battle plan once they get out, having that mentorship can be the difference between, stepping into a world of chaos and unfamiliarity, or having a plan and some set guidance, and just that reassurance alone, because it could feel very lonely. You could have a family, like yourself, Leslie, of married with 4 kids, but once you make that transition out, you're like, oh man, like, am I the only one feeling this way? Exactly.
Now I gotta feed all those mouths, right?
Exactly. So, and we do have a question.
Gabby, if I could follow up on one of your points, for the spouses, what we see for the spouses is the confidence piece. They're just so used to being, again, putting themselves on the back burner. And they don't really know their own worth. They don't know the value that they can bring to an organization. So when a spouse starts with our program, we actually do a survey, of course, at the beginning and the end. And they report 29% are confident in their chosen career path when they're starting a mentorship. When that wraps up, it jumps to 89%.
Oh, yeah.
And I will tell you, I've seen that in just the spouses that I've talked to, on a one-on-one. I mean, just understanding that they are more than just a spouse. That's kind of what they'll say. I'm just a spouse. Absolutely not. They are just incredible, and they have these skill sets to bring to a team. And it's just showing them. And who better than somebody to pour into you when you're used to doing all the pouring? It's somebody pouring into you and somebody really giving you permission to put your goals front and center. And that is what the difference, I would say, between the two.
No, that's amazing. And no, you're absolutely right. They are the backbone. They are holding down the fort. They are resilient. And, the fact that having that mentor is able to remind them of all of that and put them in the limelight, because it's exactly like you said, they're so used to being in the background, making sure that their military member is, supported and taken care of. If they have kids, making sure those kids are taken care of, making sure that a home is taken care of. And then finally, if they have some time for them, then like maybe some me time, but it's rare, So no, it's exactly that. And we do have a great question here from Christopher off of LinkedIn. And he's asking, usually what is the timeline to get set up with a mentor within the ACP program? So I guess we can kind of go, whether they're still active duty or whether they're veteran. What do you suggest there, Leslie?
Yeah, so I think probably I would say when I started my spouse, and then anything after that, I started him a year out from terminal. And that way he could have a lot of time, the grace of time to do that career exploration, but still have his mentor when it's time for salary negotiation, because he'd never done that. However,
like, can you do it for me? Because it gives me, it cringes, like it's just terrible. It gives me so much anxiety to be like, I'm gonna let my mentor tap in for this part.
Right. But also, I think an ideal would probably be about 9 months out. That way, you still have 3 months when it's time to start that new position, because then once you get the job, unlike a Raul, I would continue with my mentor, because it's integrating. It's about performance reviews. How do you crush that first 90 days, that first 6 months? Most of your team may not be military connected. So you got to learn, that whole new world, if you will. So, and then also when it asks about timeline, if they're asking really any time, but I would say no sooner than a year out from terminal, and then after service, anytime.
Anytime. Yeah. And then I know, Leslie, you've also mentioned that while the program is for, 12 months or, less than that in case they find a job and they may not, require that mentorship, those 12 months are not a minimum. You may still choose to continue, having that professional relationship with your mentor and, continue utilizing them for guidance and just continuing that relationship. And you've seen it, very often as well.
Yes, I'm actually still in touch with my mentor 6 years later. So.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Yeah, and that's what Greg is sharing here as well. I had a great ACP mentor who was a huge help during my first year of off active duty. We met monthly, and he really helped me adapt to the new culture I found myself in. Thank you for sharing, Greg. And we do have another great question from David, kind of the same when it came to the timeline, but also, and this is a great question when it comes to learning the inner workings of the ACP process. How does that matching take place regarding finding the mentor for the member? If the member has a desired function, within a certain career field, does ACP try to match that, or is that not part of a process? Great question, David.
Thank you, David. What a great question. I will tell you, this is probably the secret sauce of the program. What's most important to know is that we're human driven. It's a totally human driven approach. There's no AI or anything like that involved. It's somebody getting you on the phone. They're going to listen to your background, your goals, your interests, and they're going to take all that into account. For example, do you prefer somebody that's former service or not? Maybe you want somebody not military connected at all for a different perspective, or maybe you want someone that has walked that journey ahead of you and went through the transition process. We will have those conversations. Do you prefer somebody that's the same gender or different or same ethnic background? We're going to rack and stack those priorities, and then we're going to go on the hunt through our mentor pool, and we're going to provide who we think is the best fit mentor. Now, we are not we're not issuing a mentor. So if we miss the mark, all you got to do is let us know. I'm not sure about this. My spouse is a Ranger. he's suspect of everything. So he was like, I don't know.
Something's off.
Again, as soon as he had that call, he's like, I need this guy in my life. Absolutely. For me, I was like,
high standards.
Yeah.
Once you meet the mark with the Ranger, you're like, this is a good guy. I would take that as a huge boost of confidence. And I was like, the Ranger dude said I was okay.
He's always, I don't know. Let me be thorough. Trust but verify, right? But me, I was like, all caps, yes. How fast can I talk to Dana? I need her in my life yesterday. So, it's just communicating your needs. But when we get you on the call, our staff, I would put them up against anybody for the heart and the soul and everything they pour into our military community.
Yeah, I would have to second that. So from what I remember during my mentorship, life gets busy, right? You're doing stuff, you're transitioning, you're going to medical, transitioning out, doing your thing. And obviously your mentor has, their life going on. I will say that ACP staff did a fantastic job following up with the both of us throughout the entire process, seeing where we were, just following up constantly, making sure that we were both like not following guidelines, but making sure the timelines and I guess the milestones that we wanted to hit were still, in sight. And I got to say that was very helpful to me. I think my mentor was always on top of it, but you guys were awesome in that aspect as well. So.
And Leslie,
and
I know
Gabby's point. No, I'm sorry. I was just
going
to say
go
to
ahead,
your point about the isolation. The isolation piece, that's somebody else checking on you, right? Somebody else doing that buddy check, if you will, each month, making sure that you are on track, making sure you're staying to meet your goals and not veer, because we're cleaning CIF, we're going through medical, we're doing all the things, probably moving. So how do we make sure that you're also keeping your goals on track and in focus?
Yeah, and I think that accountability piece is huge, because it's one thing, to have kind of like that buddy check, like checking in on you, how are you doing? But we're so used to in our military careers to have someone like on us all the time, making sure we're, checking this box, checking that box. Yeah. And some of us may still need it. We may get out and be like, oh, I'm living the DD 214 life now. I can chill. I don't have to get up at 5 a.m. anymore. There's no one hounding me for a piece of paper. And so, you may get a little lax, but having someone be like, hey, how are your goals coming along? Doing check-in, not with like pressure or anything crazy, but just there to help hold you accountable and make sure that you are growing throughout that transition process. And another thing, Leslie, I know you mentioned that, these mentors are from different career fields within different organizations. How many different employers are within your scope of ACP that you guys, utilize within your search for making that match?
Well, what's fascinating is that we do have more than 120 corporate partners that provide mentors, all fields. I mean, I've got the director of cybersecurity and threat awareness from the WWE, for example, and I've got like an astronaut who is the president of space operations from another company. So it's the gamut and everything in between. But Gabby, what's fascinating is that's only 60% of our mentor pool. Actually, another 40% are volunteers like you two that come in to be mentors and not affiliated with our corporate partners. So we're very, very fortunate. And a lot of federal employee or federal mentors, small business entrepreneurs mentors. We actually recently launched just 4 months ago, ACP Ventures. So for those looking to grow or launch a business, we have entrepreneur mentors as well. So regardless of what you're doing, if you're going back to school, looking for an internship, meaningful employment, launching a business, wherever you are in your journey, we can help.
There's something out there for everyone. And as Jennifer here mentioned, it's just amazing to discover how your military skills and experiences might translate into the a civilian career. And that's absolutely right. The majority of us just don't know what we bring to the table because it's just been mission first for so long. Now it's time to focus on your transition, your well-being into the civilian sector and all that you bring to the table. Leslie, for anyone that wants to get started, wants to dip their toe into the mentorship pool, or being a mentor or starting off as a protege, how can they get started with ACP if they want to learn more?
Yeah, so the first stop is at our website at acp-usa.org. Again, that's acp-usa.org. If you are already transitioned and maybe you're an employer or recruiter, we'd love to have you as a mentor as well. If you have 5 to 6 years of civilian experience, I promise you can make a difference. Our request is 1 hour a month for both the protege and the mentor, 1 hour a month. Now there's currently 5,000 paired up right now. And so everybody's journey is unique. Their cadence, how often they meet is unique. You may meet more often. That's just our request.
That's phenomenal. And we will make sure to drop any important links as for example, as the ACP website link in the comments below, just in case you missed it. Any last parting words you have for our military community there, Leslie?
Yes, I would say don't self-select out. So often I hear from a veteran or a spouse that they don't want to take up somebody else's spot. They don't want to take up, that they're just not sure if it's the right time. Let's have the conversation. That's step one. Step two, you are worthy. You're absolutely not going to waste anybody's time. I did that. I would push my meetings because I felt like I would be wasting my mentor's time. And oh my gosh, I would have had success so much sooner if I would just understood. Because here's the thing, the mentors, we only give them one person to focus on. Mm-hmm. So if you are, if you're not, if you're delaying things, you're actually robbing them of the one thing that they're trying to do. It's National Mentoring Month. They're volunteering just to help you. They want to see you succeed, and this is their way to give back for everything you've sacrificed for our country. So please don't self-select out. You're worthy. You're not wasting somebody's time. We can help you to combat underemployment.
Well said.
Perfectly said, Leslie. Thank you so much again for joining us. I can't wait to have you on for even more times and imparting more knowledge and informing more of our military community of this amazing program. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope everyone has an amazing rest of the week as well. And
I have an alibi, Gabby.
Oh,
don't forget to look at your Instagram reels because there's so many testimonies.
Yes, you even mentioned this, and I'm just a goof, and I can't remember anything. So without, we are very biased, when it comes to tooting ACP's horn and saying they're amazing, but you don't have to just take our word for it. If you visit our LinkedIn, visit our Instagram, you can see firsthand, not only from the proteges, but also from their mentors and hearing about the process, the program, how it made a difference in their world during their transition and for their career growth in 60 seconds or less. So take the time, stop by our socials, recruit_military, that's Instagram, and then obviously Recruit Military on LinkedIn. And just take a gander at those reels and see the success stories for yourself. Oh my gosh, I'm already loving seeing these things. Thank you. I signed up. That's from a user on LinkedIn. So many thank yous coming in off of LinkedIn as well. So Leslie, like I said, you make a huge difference every time you come on here, and we love spreading the word of ACP. So thank you so much again for joining us today.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.